Hi, I'm Fabian Ramirez. Some of you might know me as Biscuit. If you don't know me as Biscuit, it's okay. Basically, I was called Biscuit my whole life. Kind of been fluffy my whole life. My mom says that it's just baby fat. It should come off any day now. I'm thinking, I'm 32 years old. At what point that's going to happen, right? I want to talk to you about something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's bullying. And maybe you already talked about it in your school or your organization. One of the things I want you to know about bullying is that bullying is very psychological. In fact, I like to carry around this brain here. The reason why I like carrying this around is because, for one, it's a visual aid for you to be able to take a look at. You've seen these. Maybe you've seen them in the science room. Left hemisphere, right hemisphere. The reason why I want to show you this is because this is where all your memory is stored, right? From the time that you were born, you've been putting thoughts into your mind. Anytime that you smell something, anytime that you see something, right? All the senses that you use are all stored here. I'll never forget the first day of middle school. Man, that was when Jose walked in. Big old guy, tough too, was all built. I was all short and fat, biscuit. And I was just hanging out, just, chilling in homeroom class. And this guy walks in. Man, he has a full beard. I have like one hair right here. I didn't want to shave it either. I want to put some hair gel right there, let it curl up a little bit, right? And so this guy sat next to me, and I remember looking at him like, whose dad is that, right? I didn't know who he was. I thought it was Father Sunday. I don't know how to get the memo. But this guy was huge, man. And then out of nowhere, we're having a conversation. And you know how sometimes people's body language changes. They even turn towards you, or what they say is it gets kind of like louder. This guy started getting a little bit louder with me, and I felt a little uncomfortable. And he eventually asked me for my money. He goes, "Dog, let me have your money." And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna give you my money." He goes, "What?" And I remember he stood up, and in front of the class, like it's already weird, but there's like chaos going around, and then people are like looking now, and kind of gets a little quiet. It's almost like where you can almost sense that there's gonna be a fight, right? First day of middle school, I'm thinking, what? This is crazy. And so this guy goes, "Yeah, let me have your money." I said, "No, I'm not gonna give it to you." And he goes, boom, and he pops me right in the chest. Man, I flew out of my chair, and I was like, man, this is crazy. I didn't know what to do. I'm a mama's boy, right? Like, I didn't grow up fighting. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a black belt holding up my pants, but that's about it. I have no mixed martial arts training whatsoever. So there I was just there, and like all the girls in class were like, "Oh, I feel sorry for him," They got up and they walked, the bell rang, and like, who wants to talk to me now, right? There I am by myself, and I went to the restroom, washed myself off, kind of regain composure as much as possible. But I looked in the mirror and I saw myself, and I thought this one thought, and now that I'm older, I always go back to the same thought. Who is this guy? What has gone on in his life where he would think it's okay for him to walk into the first day of middle school and physically assault me? Because that's what he did. He physically assaulted me. There's 4 words that counselors usually say, and they might help you today. And they're this: hurt people hurt people. 4 words. And it's true. A lot of times people who are hurt, they're the ones that are doing the hurting. So when you get picked on or somebody bullies you around campus, the first thing I want you to think about is that person's hurting. See, a lot of times we turn it on ourselves, right? Someone picks on me, oh, it's because of me. It's because I need to change what I'm wearing, or what I'm doing, or people hang out with. No, it's about them. Hurt people hurt people. I was exactly where I needed to be. I was in middle school. I was in homeroom class. I was getting my schedule, right? I was all excited too. Little did I know I was sitting next to somebody who was doing some hurt. And he was a gang member, and he just had a lot of issues. Now, I believe that if you don't talk out your actions, you tend to act them out, right? So the saying is, what you don't talk out, you act out. Man, I heard my friend Josh say that one time, and it just stuck with me. And it's true. In fact, there's been studies done on people who start shooting up schools. The Secret Service came out with the study, and the government study says that 71% of those shooters were bullied. Isn't that crazy? 71% of them. Now, it wasn't 100% accurate on that. That's the only reason. But it was a common variable with every single one of those 71% of those shooters. They were picked on. They were bullied. They were loners. Do you see some of those people in your school? Isn't that crazy? Like, you can make a difference. One of the things I've learned and I always teach students to do is don't bottle up your emotions. Look for a way to release those emotions. One of the best ways for you to release those emotions is to vent. You think of an air vent, you think of the air going through. Well, think of your mouth as an air vent. You just got to let the words come out, right? Let me tell you what venting is. Venting is releasing or transferring your emotions through words. There's 5 different ways in which I like to help students know how to vent. Because you're like, venting, okay, but what is that? Well, here's 5 different ways. The first thing you could do is you can analyze, okay? Now, analyzing is just basically just seeing where you're at, what's the current situation that I'm in. And you can work through that with the person that you're venting with. Because sometimes it's not even that bad. Really, it's not like, I can get on with this. Like, that was probably just a one-time deal, right? So you'll figure that out. Tell the person that you're venting with, how many times has this occurred? The second thing that I want you to realize is I want you to assume the best. All right. You definitely got to do that because sometimes somebody didn't mean what they said. Right. Maybe have a follow-up conversation with the person that maybe said something bad about you. Have you even talked to that person? So assume the best. You might realize that that person didn't even say it. Maybe if you just heard somebody that was talking bad about you, go up to that person and just say, hey, were you saying bad things about me? And they might say yes. Or they might say, no, where'd you get that from? I like you. You're a good friend, And so assume the best. The third thing I want you to do is I don't want you to take it personal. A lot of times we do that. We take things so personal. Right away, we're like, what's wrong with me, right? Maybe what they're saying is true about me. And I want you to say, man, just remember, it's like the tip of an iceberg. As soon as somebody says something about you or does something towards you, that's just a tip. Remember, it's about them, not about you. So you realize there's stuff going on underneath the water that you don't know about, right? And so remember that, okay? Especially when you're dealing with the situation, because it could be hurtful. I do understand that. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to act upon your feelings. And what I mean by that is don't bottle up your feelings. That's what we do a lot of times. Somebody hurts you, you've been hurt. You kind of just keep it up inside, right? You don't want to tell anybody. I want you to find a release. Some people, what they do? They draw. It's really cool. They just go buy a notepad. They buy some really cool pencils. I didn't even know. I thought there was only like number 2 pencils or number 3 pencils. The good ones that you play with pencil break. That's something I did when I was growing up. Anyways, you can draw. Some people buy cool pencils. Now you can also journal. Go buy a journal and just fill it up. Go to the bookstore and buy a cool one with a leather strap or something like that. Maybe get into sports. A lot of guys do that. They get into sports. They get into boxing. It's a good way to release that negative energy and just wail on that box. Another boxer. Or, just go at it. Right? You got that punching bag. Just hit it, uppercut it a couple times. Some people get into football. Man, that's organized aggression. But just leave it on the field. I guarantee you, once you do that, you're going to feel a lot better. The last thing I want to talk to you about is I don't want you to go to every single person talking to them about your issue. I don't want you to do that. Find one person that you trust. When you do that, when you talk to a lot of people, what happens is you feel that pain over and over again. And who wants to do that? Don't look for affirmation from everybody. Just talk to one person. I guarantee you do that, you're going to be happier as a student. Whenever somebody bullies you, you're going to know how to vent. You're going to know who to talk to and how to talk to them. And trust me, when you do that, school becomes a lot more fun for you. And you can always help other people know how they too can vent. So my challenge to you, go find one person, share that negative emotion with them through words, and look how your life can change. Hey, Biscuit has to run. It's been a pleasure.